Project Zomboid probably has to be one of my favorite games to get sucked into. Though I may not have that many hours in it myself, over the past year it has quickly risen up the ranks to be one of my favorite go-to games. Filled with excitement, fear, genuine jump scares when you aren't careful, and heartbreak, your game can go on for days at a time, just to end over ignoring your sleep bar and deciding to stomp on a crawler, only for him to bite you in the thigh. I have only personally made it through the month mark once over my 300 hours, so I've decided to give myself a challenge. It may not be much for most players, but for someone who often dies because I put myself in silly situations, I figure, hey, let's try to break that month mark and make it to 100 days, and I want you guys to join me. Hi, I'm CreamxEri, and today is the beginning of my journey to insanity, eating several trash donuts and surviving off zombie chips and cigarettes. After losing water the day before, we now have several goals we gotta achieve to make sure Alberta Jeff lives his longer than average Project Zomboid life. We eventually need to do some inventory management, secure some more food, get some rain collection equipment, and start building out our base. I also want to head into town in order to secure some extra medication and tools in case something does happen to our beloved child, as well as some books for some quick skills. Though our base is mostly secure, I know for a fact that eventually zombies will migrate this way, so we have a few things we gotta do first. Clear the area out around base, prep for some skills, and get ready for our adventure. While reading a book, I managed to catch Life and Living, a resource that we will cherish for the time being since eventually it will go offline. Once we were done, I quickly made my way to the kitchen to grab a quick meal, as well as smoke since our anxiety was showing up. Once we get our plumbing set up, we won't have to worry about small containers catching rainwater, but I just wanted to set one up just in case. I was hoping to grab a quick rain shower, however, even though it was a thunderstorm, it just wasn't powerful enough. Thankfully, there was only one zombie we had to clear out, so we dispatched it quickly and then started making our way into town, our main goal being the school. In Riverside, there are three main areas that you can go and collect books. The school, and both the bookstore and the post office that are located downtown. I'm mainly stopping at the school since it also has a nurse's station basically beside the library. It was here I noticed my game stuttering, and unfortunately at the worst moment, I was unable to turn out of the way and slammed right into a tree, basically frying our truck. So of course, a new added goal, find a new truck. Thankfully, most of the area was clear, only a small horde by the back entrance and those who were following the sound of my car. Now, this video I decided instead of speeding things up, you can all get to hear the beautiful squishes of zombie brains. In the comments, please let me know what you guys prefer, either getting to hear everything or the sped up version. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. With all the back cleared out, we were good to enter. Now, the back door was locked, but we managed to pry it open without having to go all the way around or risk breaking a window. We stopped at the nurse's station and grabbed everything inside, even the crutches, because honestly, you never know. Once that was all done, I then made my way over to the library, not wanting to waste any time. We were both very lucky and also kind of unlucky. There were tons of valuable books we grabbed, different volumes of all skills that we could use in the future. However, there was just one carpentry book. All this means is we have to go out later on another day and see if we can find the other volumes. We secured what we could, and then I decided to take a turn and look inside the gym. However, after realizing how over encumbered Jeff was, I decided to dip and head out rather than take the fight. We can always come back another time. Even though there were several cars around I could grab, being tired, asthmatic, and heavy, I just wanted to get everything home in one piece. Everything I was carrying was super valuable, and my car was the little car who could. Again, I am not the best driver, and one zombie could take my ass out, which it almost did. But we managed to make it home safely, and all is well that ends. Well, that's what the kids say. Once we made it inside, I ran straight to the living room and put all the books away. Then I went into the kitchen for some food, because even though our character is no longer underweight, we still have to manage our food stores in case we both lose or gain too much. Then I went through and read all the smaller books just to get those done and over with. We managed to also grab another show on life and living while we were reading, so we yoinked another skill point. Since it was still very early into the evening, I decided to have Jeff hammer away at some of the wooden furniture in the house, hoping to get his carpentry skill up. During this, a zombie had wandered over to the house and started making some noise, so we quickly dealt with our neighbor. She did manage to destroy a window though, unfortunately. I did a quick house inspection and then returned to destroying some more of our furniture. However, it really didn't do much for our skills, but it did inch us a bit closer to level 2. Once Jeff was finished, I decided to head to bed and grab some shut-eye, knowing we had a bunch to do the next day. Instead of going straight for food in the morning, I decided to at least clean the place up a little bit, seeing as this will be our main base for the moment. I decided to see if there were any zombies outside I had to dispatch also, just to make sure the area was safe. Before heading out though, I managed to grab another show on life and living, thus grabbing another skill. Once I was all finished, I grabbed a bite to eat and set up for my next goal: find a better car. I inspected the damage on my van before I left, and I decided rather quickly I was going to need some new parts. I did not want to scrap this van early into the game. I actually like both the storage and the space it has on it. However, I definitely need to get my skills up, and at least another vehicle to get to and from places. I remembered the red car from last episode, so I decided to make my way west with a gas can on me. Even though it isn't my favorite vehicle, as it's a bit too fast for me, it was in good health, so the decision was pretty easy to make. I cleared a few zombies out, and eventually found myself behind a cute little house I hadn't checked out yet, so I figured might as well. Actually, I'm really happy I decided to make a pit stop. You guys will see why shortly. The house was relatively empty, in both food and other supplies, but I still decided to work on my carpentry skill while I was inside. I also managed to find a few helmets, so I quickly grabbed those since even though I love my ghost face mask, 100% protection is better than less. While I was minding my business, dismantling things, enjoying a moment's peace, of course this annoying racket comes around. The helicopter decided to spawn right at this moment. I'm just happy I was safe in a house. I decided to look around, find a book to read, eat some food, wait for it to pass, just little things, because I was going to be stuck in here for a little bit. Thankfully, it didn't pull too many zombies to my area. Just a sneaky one that decided to make a little house call. I was quick on my toes, and he was taken out quickly. With that said, I decided now that the helicopter was gone to take my leave, get my car, and get out since I was dilly-dallying. I made sure to grab a quick snack and do a once-over and then made my way over there. There weren't too many more zombies on the way, just a few stragglers I had to take care of. I did see a cool zombie though with a guitar. That was pretty neat. I want you to know this entire time I was on the walk, I was playing music in my head like Mission Impossible. I was straight up laughing to myself. I decided not to record my voice this time around, just deal with voiceover, so just imagine me singing. I just had to deal with one zombie in front of the house and then I was good to grab and yoink. I did check the house very quickly to see if it had any goodies. However, it was mostly empty, so I went and inspected the car, got confused because I had to check the engine from the back, loaded it up with gas, and off I went into the sunset, and it was a very fast drive home. I had secured a new vehicle, even if it was one I was terrified to drive. Once I got home, I decided to sort my new clothes into the wardrobe and make myself some food, a stir fry this time. Pop it in the oven and grab a quick read. And while I was waiting, Life and Living popped on, so I quickly went over and yoinked another skill point. With Jeff's tummy now full, he put the rest in the fridge. With nothing else to do, I decided to force our child to read a bit more before bed, empty out his pockets, and then head in for the night. Today was going to be the day we started setting up our garden. I wanted to save most of our canned food, and I knew these were going to take a while to grow. So I decided to plant them now with the hopes of rain showing up in a few days. I didn't go too crazy, I just planted the essentials. A few onions, potatoes for calories, tomatoes, and a wild card, eggplant for variety. My plans are to harvest most and leave a few in for seedlings, so we don't have to worry about gathering more seeds later. I also didn't plant them all, so I have extras as a backup. With our starter garden finished, I decided to get rid of most of the wrecked cars around our home. Since I had a little speedster, I know for a fact my driving skills are not up to par, and I would rather not take chances. Also, it was an excuse to grab some XP for my skills. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the most I've done in Project Zomboid is survive, hoard, and build bases. I don't really know mechanics or metalworking, or anything else besides what would be considered a more Minecraft experience. So I'm learning as I go. If Jeff here is going to live a long time with my ass behind the wheel, I gotta learn some new skills. So I have been watching the odd YouTube video here and there to see what I should focus on, and Mama here is a researcher. So bear with me, okay? Making my way down to the annoying car on the corner, which has nearly ended my run at least 4 different times, I decided to rip the roads leading up to the base of zombies. And by the time I was done, Jeff was tired. Jeff needed a vacation. Jeff needs to just take a day and just exist. I'll let you guys take a moment and enjoy these zombie kills. Now, a lot of what I've cut out has been me looting zombies' pockets for watches and any other electronics my character can shred on another day. It's a cheap way to gain electrical skill, so I'm trying to milk those as much as I can. But with this car now gone, I feel a lot safer on these roads. I made my way back home and grabbed myself something to eat. Unloaded all the heavy scrap and parts that my character was carrying, and got myself ready for bed. It wasn't the most eventful day, that's for sure. However, with our garden now set up, in a few weeks, food will no longer be a problem. In the morning, I made myself another stir fry to keep our hunger as full as possible. Plus, it was nice gaining some cooking skill. With that said, I did notice our ingredients were rather lacking. Even though I know getting fresh fruits and veggies from the grocery store would be pointless minus potatoes, I decided today was going to be a food run. I barely looted the stores beside the bar, so I figure why not? Plus, we can stock up on some canned food, and at worst case, we can throw those into a stir fry also. I got myself ready to leave, and we made our way south, only nearly crashing the car a handful of times. Sadly, I came to find out that we were also very loud on our journey, thus attracting a bunch of zombies we now had to deal with before we even thought about looting. With most of the zombies cleared out, I went and made my way inside to the grocery store, and quickly cleared everything out. I managed to grab some condiments, canned food, threw out a couple rotten veggies hidden in sacks, and then cleaned the sacks alone. I then made my way over to the larger store and grabbed just about everything inside there of value. I did have a couple more visitors, however. With my back nearly broken, I decided to head home for the day, making sure to be careful while driving. I did, however, almost break my neck in the process. I checked the area for zombies and then started unloading all of my goodies, making sure to place down extra storage where needed. I managed to grab another farming book, so I placed that down in the living room since I ran out of storage in the bookshelf. And then I made my way to bed to start the next day. I woke up fairly early, so I decided to get some reading in while I could. I wanted to pump up the XP on all my skills before I went out and started earning it. For those who don't know, books in this game basically make your brain really big and swollen so you can absorb information better. With all that sorted and the sun now up, I took the car and made my way over to the bait and fishing shop because I wanted to grab a fishing rod. Behind my house is a spot right along the river, so I wanted to take advantage of that and get some fish for some new sources of protein. And you know, fish things. I fish in every game. It's an addiction. Once I got inside, I managed to find something amazing. Something that made my hoarder's heart swell 3 sizes. I found both a large backpack and a hiking bag, alongside a bunch of really nice fishing gear and some little wormies. And then went to go check out the burger place. There wasn't much inside, but I still managed to grab a handful of items. Nothing too crazy. On my way out, I went to go and check the cars in the back lot to find a fuel station wagon just ready to go in pretty good health. Probably the fastest yoink in my life. I hitched the fast car on the back and then turned around so it was easier to lead. Look at this thing. I'll have you know, I was the embodiment of Rumpel from Shrek 4. You know the scene where he's getting Shrek to sign? Yeah, that was me. I took my time driving backwards. You think I'm a bad driver going forward? Try seeing me go backwards. I don't even drive in real life, so I was scared to see how I would be on a real road with a real car. Because this is embarrassing. I then stopped at the store one last time to grab a few of the things I missed yesterday, especially since I had a bit more storage. Of course, while looting, I had more zombies pop up, but these were easy to get rid of. I did get a couple more goodies out of this trip. With our new car, our new backpack, and our new Jeff, we made our way back home to drop everything off. I want you to pretend that didn't happen. I quickly unhooked our fast car to see the damage I committed while attempting to do a tight turn, I think it's called, or yeah. But yeah, that's embarrassing. With that, I unloaded everything in my inventory, got some snacks, smoked a bit, sat down and read some more because I wanted to forget that all just happened, and went to bed, since it was getting late. I think you know the routine by now. Read a little, eat a little, prep a little, exist a little. You know how things work around here. I then decided to make my way back towards the warehouse in an attempt to get a few more things to help with building. I know we already have most of what we'll need, but I would rather be over-prepared than under. At first I thought things were mostly quiet, however, as I made my way towards the main warehouse's parking lot, I very quickly realized I had attracted a horde with my driving. I wanted to check out the cars in this lot before I committed to my station wagon, so I was taking some risks here. I then realized I probably couldn't take this fight, so when in doubt, sacrifices shall be made! In this case, our car. I managed to spot both a car and a trailer I wanted to grab. It was just a matter of clearing out the rest of the parking lot to secure everything. Remember when I was basically flirting with the station wagon? Well, this is me declaring love. I love this car. I love the look, I love the beef, I love the storage, just about everything. With a trailer too now? I secured this bad boy real quick and got everything loaded up. And then I made my way towards the lower part of the main warehouse, where I had also had to do a little bit of zombie cleanup. I will let you guys enjoy this little bit of a zombie fight. With all the zombies now cleaned up, I made my way inside and started looting. I actually didn't grab all that much. I did secure an antique stove, which I quickly threw in the back of the trailer. I was mainly grabbing some new clothes, building supplies. I wanted that little mechanic storage thing that looks like a beefy version of a filing cabinet. I don't know what they're called, but I wanted it. Last time I played with a group, they all had their mechanics gear stuffed in there, and I'm playing solo, and it makes me miss them a whole lot. So this is more of a homage to both of them. Homage, yeah. Cookie and Slavic, love you guys. I did find some cool armor, I just had to kill a random walker zombie. I don't often play with a lot of mods, so these are pretty cool to find. So I grabbed all that I could and then stuffed them away for later. Then I went and visited the break room, grabbed a couple snacks for the way. I don't know when the next time I'll come back, so I wanted to see if there was any fresh fruits or any perishables in the fridge. I did get my little cabinet though, which I'm very happy about that. It was time to head home and secure my loot. I managed to find a bunch of cool things, as well as grabbed a few extra gardening items for later. I was mainly excited about the car and trailer though. I placed down my cabinet, put a couple things away in there, went inside, and settled down for nighty nights. I grabbed myself a nice meal with some of my new ingredients. Of course, another stir fry. What else? And then I made my way over to check the back garden. It had rained since, so things were progressing pretty nicely. Then I decided to take the day for myself and do some fishing. Making my way up behind the house, I spotted something pretty cool. A nice little trailer in what looks like half decent condition. I went inside and looted, and then proceeded to kill the zombie hanging out outside. Who knows? Maybe when we get bored of our base, we can go on a little journey. Then I set myself up and did some fishing, and honestly, it was really nice and relaxing, a nice little break from the tediousness of the game. I actually did really good fishing today, enough to make a bunch of fillets. I brought everything home and got that all started, storing some in the fridge and the rest in the freezer. I then decided to make my way towards one of the houses down the road. I knew it had a fence that I could dismantle, so I wanted to check that out, alongside the sheds on the yard. But mainly as like a little last hoorah for some cheap experience. It was getting pretty late, so once the fences were done, I checked out the shed and found a few extra goodies, but nothing too special. With that, it was time to head home and call it a night, especially with how dark it was. I knew we were at risk for messing up our bedtime, so I wanted to get to bed as quick as possible. Unfortunately, I did end up waking up at 11 AM, so that's fun. Can you guess what we did in the morning? I read a book, ate a meal, you know, the classic morning routine. Jeff's brain right now is so massive, I'll let you know. But today I actually had a goal. With the TV off now, I wanted to stop by the off-brand Blockbuster in town and grab some of the shows and movies to watch for some extra skills. Also in case Jeff here gets a little sad. So I emptied out the car and started getting ready to head down there. There were a lot of zombies out front, so I took care of those before I went inside. With everything now cleared up, I looted everything. Not a shelf was left with something on it. After I was done, I also decided to stop by the liquor store, grab some extra smokes and some drinks for our child. He has been doing such a great job. We love you, Jeff. I really do wish there was more use for alcohol in this game, besides like Molotovs and drinking purposes, but it is what it is. You know what? Best thing I could do is offer Jeff a drink after surviving a bunch of days in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. This is actually some amazing loot we had. We secured a bunch of episodes for cooking, carpentry, survival, and even an episode of Car Zone. All of these will come in handy for sure. I cleaned up the living room, placed in a new crate for all the movies, and got ready for bed. Now that things are more tidy around here, it was really starting to feel like home. Now that we had a ton of videos we could use, I quickly grabbed my one carpentry book and got to reading. I then decided to go through and watch some tapes, gaining level 4 carpentry. We could now at least start putting down some walls and mark how we wanted our base to look. Even though we have a generator and gas to boot, my only concern is if the generator breaks down, what do we do then? So that's why I'm sort of bum rushing skills right now. I'd rather get them early than not have them at all. I then went and grabbed a quick snack. I knew this was going to be a relatively boring day, but you know, we have those in real life too. Going outside, I grabbed my mechanics book and read that too, putting on Car Zone and grabbing a skill level there. Now I could mess around with cars and start scrapping parts. It's good in this game to take the odd day where you do nothing but learn things. Running headfirst into a lot of things is where a lot of issues can arise. Before long, it was getting to nighttime and Jeff was very sleepy. I grabbed one more quick snack and made my way towards the bed. Now this day is one I have been looking forward to. For all the hip kids out there, we call this a Bones Day. Because quite literally, we're going to start working on the bones of the house. I wanted to create a dedicated storage area off the side of the house, as well as eventually encase the whole place. Maybe a potential garage in the future as well. For now though, we had to cut down a lot of trees. My axe kept breaking on me, so I had to take a break here and there and repair it. I was only using duct tape for now, as it was the thing I had readily available on me. But we'll get some better, proper wood cutting tools in the future. For now, I just wanted to get the base logs done so that we can get some plywood. Thankfully, there weren't that many zombies we had to take care of while doing this. Most of them seemed to have either wandered off or I got most of them, which we will take that as a win. With all the main cutting done now, my goal was to make a bunch of boards that I could just pick up and work as I go. I wasn't worried about making too many, because we have a ton of trees around us. We got a whole forest in our backyard, we're fine. But I just wanted to lay out the base of the first room and get that started. I created one area in the back for us to get out of, and then I'm going to create the other door near the front door. And don't worry, I skipped through most of the building, so you just get to see a couple walls put down and not the whole thing. If you guys want to see more footage of that specifically, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. With all the walls basically laid out, I do know that eventually I'm going to have to get enough boards to lay down the flooring in the place, but I was pretty happy with what we had achieved so far. After a long day of chopping and building, I decided to give Jeff a little bit of a break, especially since he was very tired and all sorts of issues. So I decided to stop in the kitchen and make myself a snack. Since it was still so relatively early, I decided to read a couple more books just to pass the time. Even though he was ridiculously tired, this man gets no sleep. Did I say this day was going to be eventful? Well, for me, it was very exhilarating. I love building. I love any excuse to build. I love any excuse to fish. I love any excuse to farm. It's a good thing that Project Zomboid has it all. I decided to do something different today. I wanted to brave the downtown area. Mainly stop at the post office for some more books, as well as check out the pharmacy. I wanted to see if I could grab some antibiotics. I have been avoiding the main city primarily because I wished a little bit longer than 3 days. But now that we have a decent setup and some good gear, let's take a little risk, shall we? After passing the police station, it was very clear that a large number of zombies had appeared in the area. Though I didn't realize it till later, an alarm was going off and so they were all heading in that direction. Of course, as my luck would have it, it was going off right in front of the post office. Deciding to play it safe, I went through the underpass of the motel and took a path leading behind the post office. There I was able to sneak past most of the horde and loot in relative peace. I did find a couple more carpentry books, however, not much else outside of that. I'm kinda sad I didn't write down what other books I needed, so I will have to make a trip back here eventually, as well as down to the bookstore. But now I was done, and it was time to check out the pharmacy. I took a moment to check out these vehicles in the back since I hadn't been in this part of town. They weren't in the best condition, but they were still worth checking out. They could be used for parts later on. I'll have to come back for these later. As of right now, I'm more focused on getting in and getting out. After I was done, I loaded up my vehicle and made my way over to the pharmacy. Though most of the horde was located in the front of the post office, there had been a couple in the back here that didn't seem to head that way when the alarms were going off. So now I had to deal with a little bit of a horde problem back here, but luckily they were easy to dispatch. While I was fighting, I also took notice of another pickaxe, which I realize now that I had left the other one back at the warehouse, so eventually I'll have to go and grab that. But I picked up my favorite weapon currently, and this was very exciting for me. I had another one. Now, unfortunately, the back room of the pharmacy had a zombie behind it and was locked, and I didn't really want to risk going in there and busting down the door and having the zombie come out and bite me. So I focused on looting the front of the building as well as the back here, and unfortunately I did not find any antibiotics, but I did get some of the medical supplies, and now I have a good stock for at home. I also stopped by these two restaurants in the back, mainly because I wanted to collect a stash of ice cream, because that's always good and quick calories if you need to put on weight. As well as the donut shop, which I attempted to see if there was anything in there that could be useful, and between the two of them I managed to come out with some fruit, some ice cream, and a couple other things that were beneficial to us. Other than that, it was kind of a useless stop and just wasting time at this point. I did use this time to kill a couple zombies though, and that was enjoyable. For the most part, this trip down to the city wasn't too out there. I was very lucky that they were distracted for the most part by the alarm that was blasting in the front of the building. I also did catch my sights on a couple cars that I may be interested in coming back for in the future, especially that cop car down in front of the donut shop. That might be fun to steal. With nothing else really left to do, and with my character now tired as well as exhausted and several other things, I decided to make my way back home. I did get a quick view though of the zombie horde population downtown on the street, and I do gotta be careful next time I come back down here. My only concern is that when I leave, they're gonna follow the sound of my car and eventually make their way up north, but we'll have to deal with it then. I would also like to state that right here at this exact moment, I fat fingered getting out of the car because I went to go honk my horn just to fuck around and find out. And yeah, so I quickly got back in my car and dealt with that whole situation, but that was scary for a moment there. Now that we were home, I decided to unload the fruits that I found as well as some of the perishables into the fridge. I also did find some dough for some fresh bread later, so that's exciting. We're gonna have some sandwiches soon. And also I decided to read a little bit more before I went to bed, as it was still fairly early and I had time to burn. With that, we have officially been playing this episode for 10 days now, so I think it's time that we give ourselves a little bit of a break. But thank you guys so much for joining me for episode 2. I decided to make it 10 days instead of just 5 to make it progress a little bit faster. I'm cutting out all the little boring parts so that you guys don't have to sit through them. But with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please feel free to leave a sub if you enjoyed everything, or a comment and letting me know your thoughts and opinions on the whole video. Either way, my name is Cream. It's lovely to have you joining me here, and I hope to see you guys on the next episode. I love you all. Mwah.